Hello again, and it's time for another project. Today we're going to do some router work on this tree of life, which is 12 inches by 12 inches. And the idea is we're going to route out all the dark sections, leaving these white sections to act as barriers, or veins as I like to call them. Once they're all routed out, we'll get multicoloured resin, and we'll just basically go crazy and fill in each one of these a totally random colour, and we'll see what we've ended up with. Now, as always for me, we've got our template ready, printed this one off, stuck it down with painter's tape, and we pop our carbon paper underneath and literally draw around it with a pen. It's a slow process, and if you're clever, there's other methods. You could stick that straight onto there, route over the top. There's also different thinners and stuff you can put on, soak it in thinners, obviously when it's upside down, and you can rub the back with a spoon, peel your paper off, and hopefully you've got a decent print. I've tried things like that. Find out what works for you and stick with it. And I'm quite happy with the carbon paper. So you can see from that, we've drawn around it all. That's our image now on there and ready to route out. Plus you have the benefit of you've still got the printed image, which you can use over and over again. Right, as always for me, I'm going to use my CNC bits. These come in different degrees. These are Dremel size shafts on them, a 3.175mm, and they do fit a Dremel no problem. You can see, just about see from here, these are 10s and 15s. The 20s and 30s in the other box. Get a nice packet of mix off eBay or Amazon, and you won't go far wrong. Because they do have a small shaft on them, like I say, a 3.175mm, you require an adapter collet. This is a 6.35mm. You can literally just slot your router bit in there. That will now fit a 1/4 inch router, no problem whatsoever. And we'll set a depth to what we're comfortable with. I'm literally just going to go around all the lines on this, just to separate the thin barrier in between the two sections. Once we've gone around all of that, make sure we're nice and good to go. We'll remove the CNC bit, and we'll pop in one of these end milling bits. They come in a pack of 10 from various sizes, really small. There is one smaller than that one. That tends to break as soon as you put it in the wood, so be prepared for that. And we'll get one that fits nicely, not too small these ones, so we'll take one of those, slot it into that, set it to the same depth and literally remove all this grey section. Take your time in drawing this out. Shading the areas you're going to remove, because you'll go away, come back, and you might start removing this line bit. Once you've done that, that project is over with. And then we'll cut a line around this circle here with this CNC bit, and we might just lower this ring here slightly, and then we'll get a scroll saw and cut the full piece out with a spiral blade. We'll talk about that nearer towards the finishing line. Okay, let's set up our CNC bit in our little adapter collet, and we'll throw that into the router, and we'll start routing this one out. Right, just before we start, you can see from that we've got that inside our router there. So that's our CNC bit. We've set a depth that we're comfortable with. This is all scrap wood around this, so you can try a couple. I've done 3 there. You don't want to go too deep that you're just wasting resin. You don't want to do too shallow that the resin won't set inside and you basically just got a little crust instead of some kind of depth to it. So I've gone for the one with a circle on. That's just a nice depth for me. I mark it off, then if I go away, come back, I can set my router to the same depth if I've used it on another project. Okay, let's start going around these lines now with the CNC bit. Okay, that's it for our CNC bit. Now this recycled pine, this will actually come off the side of a wardrobe. I can just flick it over for you. It's quite powdery, but it carves or routes really nice. Now most of that, as you can see, that was actually done with the CNC bit, and I would be quite happy to leave the CNC bit on because it's popping off really nice, no problem whatsoever. But because I did say we're going to use wool popping out end milling bits, remember they come in different sizes, so we often want to fit one, or find one should I say, that's not too big, and the one that will fit in between these veins as I'm calling them. So we'll pop one of these into our mill end bit, not actually that one, that's a little bit too big. So there's the CNC bit we've just removed, and we'll pop in our end milling bit. That just literally just slides in exactly the same, and we'll pop that into the router. We've got our depth set, remember, we can use any of these here or the one that we've circled up there. So we set this to the same depth of that, and we know when we come to clean these out, it's going to be the same height or depth should I say as the one that we've previously took out with the CNC bit. So we'll use these, we'll pop them on now, and we'll just clear out in between these veins. Okay, you can see from that, that's all cleared out now with our end milling bits. That's come out really nice, no problem with that whatsoever. I popped the CNC bit back on again, just to basically do the full circle at the same depth of these here. So what we do next is get our scroll saw, literally cut this circle out. Now your scroll saw has 3 basic blades. There is fancy ones with different teeths and different names and all sorts out there, but your basic ones are your standard pin blade like so. There's a pin at top, pin at bottom. That literally slots into your scroll saw and hooks onto your bracket like so. They come on your older and cheaper models of scroll saw. You also get pinless blades. These are very thin, obviously have no blades on. They're ideal if you're doing a lot of inner cuts, very small detailed ones where you wouldn't get the blade there with the pins on. And there's also what I use now is a spiral blade. For my old draper saw I need these adapter clamps, and they literally go in there and they hook onto the framework like so. They would hook on there top and bottom. The good thing about the spiral blade is it cuts in any direction. The teeth are actually spiraled the full length of the blade. I don't know if you can actually see that. So I like them. You will either love or hate these spirals. Once you get used to them, I use them on all my projects now. Okay, we'll pop on the spiral blade and we'll cut out this circle on our little project today. Okay, you can see from that, we've gone around with our spiral blade, pegas number 5 for me. We've cut out the shape we want. Don't worry if it's not fantastic, we'll straighten this out once we get the sanders on it. That's what sanders are for. Now the reason why I leave the frame on is just so it gives me a bit more surface for the router to run on. I've got quite a small router base on mine. And as we're routing out this circle here, we just can rest on this as well as that. Whereas if that wasn't there, it might just get a bit topsy-turvy, we're going to call it. Now I'm going to put the mill end bit on again, and we're just going to lower it to that level over there, if I can just show you that one quickly. So that's the effect we're going for. We're just going to lower it down a little bit. Nothing too fancy, just to say we've given it a go. Now there is bigger bits if you want to do bigger pieces. Best thing is to find something that you're comfortable with. I don't think there's any set law on rule on what you've got to use and what you don't use. I mean, I have these straight flush bits. If I can just show these quickly, these are monster things. I mean, these have double blades on, blades at the bottom. I'll struggle to fit that one in there, but that will rip around there in seconds. You get smaller pointed ones like so, and you get smaller double bladed ones like so. That would probably be ideal for that one. Straight flush bits, they come in packs of 5, really cheap. They do have the 1/4 inch shaft on them, so they'll fit in your router without any collet. So have a shop about and see what you can find and what you're happy with. But I'm going to stick with my end milling bits, remember, the ones we used before for the clear out. I've got the biggest one set in the router. Now we're just going to route out this full circle. And it doesn't matter if we go up to the end, we can use this as a buffer, and if you just go to the end of this wood, no problem, because it's all going to be removed, and hopefully we'll have a nice lowered out surround. Okay, we'll route this out next. Okay, that's it. We've gone all the way around with our mill end bit. There's our basic shape that we're going for today. Now with a fair bit of tidying up to as regards to sanding, just to get these sides nice and smooth. This little top section on here, and we'll go inside the actual tree itself and just tidy them up. What I normally use is me little Dremel flexi cable like so. And we have to go inside, general tidy up, even skim around there with this one. Little engraving bits these are, just cheap things off eBay. They come in packets like that. It could be for glass, metal. I use them on wood all the time, certainly had no issues with them. And then we'll have a general skim over with a sander, mouse sander should I say, and even the belt sander, just to round it off the best we can. And then we'll get onto the resin side of things. Okay, that's it as regards to me sanding down and cleaning up. Everything's nice and smooth. Now colour wise, the front of this we're going to leave just wood. Obviously no paint on there at all. But the border, I'm just going to paint this black. I was going to do a nice red and stuff, but there's going to be so many colours going into this tree with the resin in my view. It might just be a little bit too much. And I was going to leave it, but I want a definite separation between the framework and the wood at the front. So basically it looks like that's been stuck on there afterwards, and it's got a black background. For the black I'm just going to use simple satin black there, nothing too fantastic. So we'll give that a quick paint over. Any spillages or little overflows there, we'll simply just sand that down, and then we'll put on our linseed oil just to darken that wood back down. We can get it inside here, it doesn't matter. We're going to put resin in there, remember. And then we'll spray on our sealant first. I'll use crystal clear here, just to get a nice shine on it, as if it's the end of the project. Because if you put your resin in first, and then decide to spray over it afterwards, all your shiny resin will go dull. So we've basically got to finish this as it is now, and then we'll get onto the resin side of things. So I'll literally put the paint on, the linseed oil, the spray, and hopefully we'll finally get onto the resin side of things. You can see from that, we put on our black paint, we sanded it down, we put on our linseed oil just to darken that wood down a little bit. And we've also sprayed on our clear sealant, just get that shine there. I do apologise for the lighting, I'm actually doing this in my kitchen now, so what you see is what you get. Okay, so resin time. As always for me, amazing clear cast. It comes in two parts, A and B. A being your resin side of things, and B being your hardener, or your catalyst as they call it, I believe. And you basically, with amazing clear cast, you just mix it volume. So an inch of A, an inch of B, 2 inch of A, 2 inch of B. Mix the two together and you're good to go. I basically just mix it an inch at a time in these plastic party cups. So there's my A for the resin, and there's my B for the hardener. So an inch in there, and I basically just tip the B into A because that runs a bit quicker. The resin side is a bit more stickier. They do say put it into a third cup. I've never bothered. Give it a good mixing around, 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll pop in our colours. Now the colours are going to be totally random on this. At one time, I was going to get some blue tack and just block off each separate leaf. And you can do that, and then put your resin in, and then once it's gone off, remove the blue tack, and you can do the stalk or the stem or the twig at a separate colour. I just think it might just be a little bit too much on this one. This would also look ideal, just one separate colour, all green or red or whatever. So we're going to use a lot of colours, but maybe not as much as if we're going to do every leaf individually. Just another little tip with regards to the blue tack. Okay, colour wise, let's just grab a bag full of colours, and we'll just randomly start mixing them and just start filling in the leaves. And you notice it will be the leaves and the stems at the same time. So that one there will be quite a lot of colour in that one, see? So we could maybe go green on that, and then we'll go yellow, and maybe red, and orange, and blue, and green. We're going to go silly on this one and really go multicoloured, right down from the leaves, right down the trunk, right into the roots. Okay, I'll mix these couple of resins off camera, and then we'll come back when they're ready to drop a bit of colour in, and we'll start filling this one in. Okay, you can see from that, we've mixed some up. I actually mixed a larger proportion like so, and I just tip a bit into a separate cup, just so we can get a couple of colours out of this one, and then we can add to the next one and next one. Therefore you're not mixing too much, and we want to get plenty of colours thrown in this one. Now I want to start with green. Unfortunately, the only green I have is this luminous green, and that just might be pushing on a little bit too much with that one. So I'm going to try and drop a blue and a yellow together, and you literally just want one drop of each. So that's just one drop of yellow gone in there, like so. Same with the blue, and hopefully we'll get some kind of green. And if it's not dark enough, we'll go through it all again, and so on. And we can add a bit of white to it to lighten it up afterwards. So a quick mix round like so. Still looks a little bit too light, does this one? That would be ideal if you're doing a stained glass effect. But as we're not, because it's on wood, so we'll go through it all again. It's easier to add 2 drops this time. There we go. And then 2 of the yellow. It's easier to add than it is to try and take it out. 2 again, and we'll just even get a darker green this time. You can see from that it's going a lot darker. Like so. Now I won't bore you with filling the full tree in, we'll be here forever. So I'll do a couple of branches. What I'm going to try today for the first time, normally I use these spoons, they have a nice little lip on there, and these are just party spoons, party cups, really cheap to purchase. And I would literally just get a little scoopful like that and start filling in. Now somebody recommended I try these popettes, I believe. I got 100 of these for next to nothing. And they're basically just little thin tubes like that. And the idea is we're going to pop one into one of our popettes into the resin and squeeze some out, and we'll see if we can actually use it to fill this in. Now I've not done this before, this is my first attempt. This might be the first and last time you'll see one of these. You can actually cut the ends down further if you feel the resin is not going in. So I'll have a little play first, see if it works. If not, we won't be seeing them again. So the idea is to pop that in there like so, squeeze the end, let it go. That resin's gone into there nicely so far. You can see from that. And then the idea is, and here we go, this is the first. We'll pick one that we're going to fill in. Let's just go over here. And the idea is to gently squeeze that, like so. And we'll start filling this one in. Now you also get yourself a little cocktail stick, just to help it feed it along like so. So you get a bit more in there. That seems to be working okay, no problem with that. Don't get a bit in this smaller area. Not getting too much on the wood. Okay, like so. So yeah, they work. Now with this project, we're just going to fill this all in, and that will be as finished. If you wanted more resin to go in, you can slightly fill it to the max and then sand over it all so it's flush, and then put clear resin over the lot. But we're not doing that kind of project today. So I'll continue and fill this tree in like so, and we'll come back hopefully when this little project is finished. Okay, that's it. Now that was a slow process. Now the good thing about resin, you could do a couple of colours one day and then leave it, and then come back and do a couple of more. It doesn't have to all be done in one. However, I've done this one today in one. It's been very slow. So all I need to do now is get a lighter like this and just skim over the top of the resin. And the reason we do this, the resin has little air bubbles in. So with the heat from the lighter, it literally just disperses all those bubbles and makes it nice and clear and shiny, as you can see from that. And that's it, that's all we can do for now. So we'll just put this to one side. We'll come back in 24 hours and hopefully all this should be set. It's 24 hours later. Everything's nicely set, all nice and solid. Remember, we've already put our clear spray on here, so we've nothing else to do to this project. Got a nice shine on it. If you wanted to, you could put clear resin over that and let it run over the sides, give you a nice smooth finish. I just prefer to be able to feel the actual routed out areas. You can see from that everything's got on nicely, no problem whatsoever with that one. So that's it, this little project is finished. So that's 12 inch by 12 inch routed out tree of life inlaid with multi-coloured resin on recycled wood. Thank you very much for watching.